So I decided that I wanted to do the Booktube Newbie tag, even though I haven't entirely gotten comfortable doing these. I spent a lot of time recording videos with just my hands unboxing them, and I'm trying to get a little more comfortable in front of the camera, and I'm definitely not. But I thought it's probably about time that I do the Booktube Newbie tag. So why did you start this channel? Well, I have a blog called Kyera's Library where I post my book reviews and some unboxings. And some of the things like the unboxings obviously do better when you also have a video to watch it. Instead of me just posting some pictures, I thought it was a little more engaging. And so I decided that I would really love to get more comfortable in front of the camera and express my love of books and do reviews of them and stuff like I do for my blog, but now with you guys. Not that anybody's watching, but maybe one day I'll actually be able to do this because, books are my entire life. So it just seemed like the perfect transition from my blog, although obviously I'm not transitioning out of my blog. I'm just trying to add to it. What are some fun and unique things that you can bring to BookTube? My best friend is actually obsessed with makeup and hair, so what I always wanted to do was collab with her. So maybe we could make a music video for a book that we love, and we could make costumes because I've gotten her to cosplay with me before, and I just think that would be a really cool thing to bring to the community because I know there's so many of us that are so passionate about all of these books that we read and want to connect with each other, and I thought that would be a really fun way to do it. And the people who are familiar with my blog tend to call me a fantasy and mythology queen because I'm absolutely obsessed with mythology, and I feel like not a lot of people love it or know about it as much as they can. I'm so thankful for Rick Riordan being able to bring more attention to it and making it more accessible to people because I've loved it since I studied it in the 6th grade, and I really want to share that with other people. What are you most excited for about this new channel? Obviously, it's just connecting with other people who love books like I love books. That's what I love about my blog, getting the comments saying, oh, this review made me try this book, or because of your recommendation, I found a new book I love. And that is the greatest feeling in the world. That's part of why I'm actually studying right now to become a librarian. I'm in grad school because I want to talk to people about books for the rest of my life. And so this is just another avenue for that. Why do you love reading? I've loved reading since I was a small child. I love reading because you can escape to other worlds. You can experience so much more than you can in your real life. And that quote that they say, a reader lives 1,000 lives before they die, I just think is perfect because you do experience so much. I think you learn and you grow through reading, and it's such a great experience that I wish everybody had. What book or series got you into reading? I think my real passion for reading probably started with Harry Potter. It was just crazy happenstance. My parents were in a store and my dad picked up the book and he goes, oh, I heard something good about these books. And my mom's like, oh, okay, what are they about? And he's like, oh, this kid, he's a wizard and he goes to a school. And both of my parents love fantasy. My dad is a huge fan of Game of Thrones and the Wheel of Time series. My mom has always loved Lord of the Rings. They love this sort of genre, like the genre chronicles. So obviously fantasy is in my blood. And so when she heard, oh, it's a fantasy, it's a wizard boy, she picked it up. And so she read the first book or the first 2 books to me like every night before I went to bed. And I fell in love with the series. And so, I loved reading before that, but I became obsessed with Harry Potter. That was my first series. I became such a fangirl of that. So I've grown up with it and I love it so much. So obviously, as I said, Harry Potter was my gateway to reading as passionately, I think, as I do. Although in my childhood, I also would go to my grandma's house every summer, 3 days a week, and she had a whole collection of Nancy Drew books. So I'd usually grab one of those, go climb up in a tree in her yard, and just lay there and read for hours. And so when she couldn't find me around the house, she knew to go looking for me in a tree where I was reading. So I definitely would count that. But I definitely reread the Harry Potter, the original, you know, the first 3 Harry Potter books more than 30 times each as a kid. I love them so much. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I know a lot of them are not extroverts, and I know I personally am not very comfortable going up to strangers and talking to them. So other than, you know, just doing it, which is the best way to get experience, you know, what advice would you have for someone just starting booktube, getting comfortable in front of the camera, and maybe managing the pressure that you might feel to review the most popular books as opposed to maybe which ones you feel more passionate about? Yeah, that's probably it. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I mean, I've mentioned it a bunch of times already, but probably just feeling comfortable in front of the camera, and then also having your personality translate over the camera, you know, via video, whatever. I feel like a lot of people feel that they have to have more personality in front of the camera, be a little over the top in order to come across not as monotone and boring. And so it's about finding that balance of being authentic to yourself and being engaging to your viewers. And I hope that I am able to overcome that and just feel more comfortable and whatever. When did you start reading? Probably whenever I was taught to read. So 4, 5 years old, I honestly don't know. I don't really remember that. Where do you read? Literally anywhere I can. I've just started converting this room into my library and my little sanctuary. So this is where I hope to be my main reading area, but I read in my room, I read in the living room. I carry a book with me pretty much everywhere I go. So if on the rare occasions I take a break where I work, which is a library, obviously, I will read unless I'm doing my grad school work. But basically, anywhere else I have the opportunity, I will read. But I probably do most of my reading either walking around my house. Yes, I do tend to hold a book and walk around my house. That's a habit I got into when I was in the Peace Corps, and I can't just sit still for long periods of time. I need to get up and move. So I would usually just have a book, or in the Peace Corps I had my Kindle, and I would just walk up and down the room while I'm reading. And I tend to still do that now. And the final question is, what kind of books do you like to read? As I mentioned before, I'm definitely inclined to fantasy. I love a lot of different genres, but fantasy is by far my favorite, followed very closely by science fiction. Those are my 2 favorite genres.